Hi, I'm Jonathan from Some Talented People. We're day 2, episode 2 of our Is Competition a Good Thing series. And today we're looking at how COVID-19, 20 and 21, it looks like it's going to be, is or has affected the nature of competition, because so many sectors will never recover. And what does that mean for you in business or as an entrepreneur? So now we're looking at the nature of COVID, and obviously you guys are in South Africa. Here in the UK, we're on our 3rd lockdown, and they're talking about making the controls even stricter, and they're talking about this running until March. And so, there were hospitality businesses, pubs, restaurants who struggled through doing takeaway service. I've seen a lot of restaurants and food establishments give away money to Just Eat and Deliveroo, and I can't myself see. I can probably see half of the things we currently see on the high street as not being there in 12 months' time.
Yeah, you see, Jonathan, when it comes to the hospitality area, etc., over the past 8 months, and look, 2020's gone its history. I don't really like to talk about it, but for the purposes here, at the end of the day, those restaurants, etc., they had some staying power for them. Have they got staying power?
Yeah.
And will the banks support them during the next year to 2 years? Because that's what it's about. At the end of the day, I think... as we've spoken before, we're in a totally different economy. I don't know the guys have got the staying power physically and mentally, let alone support in terms of the capacity to borrow money when you have dwindling sales revenue profits. So look, the margins are generally very high in those businesses, but it's no good having a pub like here in South Africa now and then for another month you can't sell alcohol. That smashes breweries, but breweries have got all the big boys. They actually know the shifts and trends. They know that they're going to get hurt. They've got to refigure out, hang on, this is around for a while. So if they're hurting, you can imagine the smaller guys hurting, and a lot of those smaller guys have gone by the wayside. And so more people, I think, are going to move into the services and IT and digital markets and try and find some sort of footprint there.
Okay, changing career, pivoting,
and I totally agree. But also, I agree what Guy's saying. The holistic view here is very important. Banks, landlords, for these people to survive, everybody has to get on board and work together to try and make it. And that's banks, landlords, everybody to survive. I believe a lot of businesses have survived because first it was going to be 3 months, then 6 months, then the end of the year. Now it just seems like the end is really hard and in sight. So, but as long as people have got hope and they believe there is an end to it, they will keep going. They will keep, this is something you've got to bite off a month at a time. You can't bite this off a year at a time. Every month you survive, every month you can make the overhead, every month you can make a plan, every month you can still be in business in certain sectors that are struggling. That's a win. Certainly not the case if you run in a retail and those sort of things right now. It's business as usual per se. You shouldn't have that mindset. But the smaller guys, restaurants, hospitality, eventing, all those things that rely on people, crowds. Every month is a win. Every day you can stay in business a month longer, it's a win. Problem is, yes, the bank, the loans, all of that can get quite scary. How deep does the hole go?
The question,
I think that's a lot of the people's or the entrepreneurs' thinking is, when do we stop digging?
Okay, well, look, so in conversations I've had with you and Guy in the past, Guy has said that really since the financial collapse of 2008, the economy in South Africa has been an L shape, so basically flat.
Yeah.
It has been, but at least flat is not totally depressed. So that, if you were good and you did what you needed to do, I suppose the challenge there would have been specifically to South Africa. We were only really coming out of a slump, starting to rebuild and relook in COVID hit. But I'm sure that's for a lot of countries around the world as well. I don't think anybody's better prepared than anybody else, to be honest with you, unless the type of business you're in. I think we're feeling it worldwide, and it's a worldwide feeling. It's
Yeah, but
just the
on
way
top
it
of
is.
that,
It's not unique.
Dylan, on top of that, there are a lot of opportunities,
Definitely.
but having said that, when you got power outages 4 hours a day or twice a week,
I
etc.,
agree.
and you're trying to deal with international clients, they've got to have some empathy, and a lot of them don't, and that's just how it is. So it's a challenge if you're trying to look outside South Africa, but there are opportunities. You just got to be sharp, and you got to check the landscape, Jonathan, regularly.
So as a question then, because a lot of the things I'm trying to do outside of these shows is I'm trying to bring things into manifestation that do not yet exist, and my strategy has been to apply for investment, because I think that there's basically that top 1% or the top 0.1%, they have so much money that I see, because when you talk about banks, Dylan, banks were the reason that we had the 2008 crash, because they wouldn't lend.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Yeah, and that's why people are looking more and more at venture capitalists, angel investors, and I think more and more of those sort of operations are springing up, and they're going to get really focused, and they'll obviously want to be a part of the action in terms of the day-to-day management of the business, etc. Because trying to get that return on their investment when the market is generally flat in certain areas, it's your level of risk you want to take.
Yeah. And I totally agree. I also think that the challenge there, and I use the word challenge, is the timing on that. So if you've got a hotel or a restaurant or whatever, you're not going to get angel investors in now because they've got no way of recouping their income. The people that have survived a year of COVID now have probably been people in the industries that are on their knees for the last 20 or 25 years because they're old experts at it. So this is where change comes, is a big thing. You've got to be able to change, and in order to pivot into a new business, to be able to get that, I think would be very difficult for a lot of people that have been in one sort of industry or doing one thing for so long. And competition, change, all those things, that's very important. You're more able to pivot easier in these times.
So, I mean, I think then that as a good little closer off to this, that we can refer people back to the episodes we did on why, because I think when you speak about, guys, the number of unemployed in the country, when you speak about the economy, it's been flat for so long, the purpose behind anything you do is going to make the difference as to whether or not it at least fulfills you.
Yeah, you look at the end of the day, it's your purpose, and what are you getting out of it every day, and it's got to be exciting. It's you got to have an impact. And you've got to realize that just throughout your organization, you've got to bring your tribe along, because the thinking of 8 months ago is got to be different. And as Dylan said earlier, it's not looking at 1 year, it's looking at this month, whatever. And here we're talking to we're talking the small, medium entrepreneurs, small, medium owners. So, different mindsets. I suppose it could be a good debate amongst, about 15 entrepreneurs who have failed and who are successful. That would be an interesting discussion.
Could be something we could set up.
Yeah, especially in the B2B.
Honestly,
yeah.
I think, as you said, your why. A lot of people that have survived a year of COVID, they're doing their why in their businesses. Right now, it's very difficult for them that are unable to apply a trade because it's been stopped. They cannot do it. It's against the law. It's been stopped against the law. So a lot of those people are finding their why a bit lost because they can't apply their why, and their why is what's brought them to this point to survive.
Yes, a really interesting discussion there about the damage of COVID. Come back tomorrow. Tomorrow's episode is all about competition versus collaboration. So I'll see you then.